I see you never analysis. So I will be talking about summary of the short story, characterization of Mr. Ramirez, characterization of Mrs. O'Brien, relation to the topic American Dream, and the message of the story. So summary. The text is a short story written by an American author, Ray Bradbury, in the 1940s, where this belief of the American dream became popular. And in the short story, a man, Mr. Ramirez, is being deported back to Mexico because his visa expired and he had overstayed in America for half a year. So therefore, the American police are sending him back to Mexico. But the man got to say goodbye to Mrs. O'Brien, his landlady, and the last moment together was emotional, especially for Mr. Ramirez, as she knows that they will never see each other again since he will be expelled from the country. And before he left with the police officers, he gave Mrs. O'Brien a proper farewell, as he told her, "I see you never." However, Mrs. O'Brien does not realize that she will never see him again until he's gone. Characterization of Mr. Ramirez. So after characterization, we get to know that he has dark eyes, and there's a simile. His eyes are being compared with Mrs. O'Brien's pies, and really get to know that he has dark eyes when his dark eyes are moving over the advertisements and his dark eyes blinking rapidly, etc. And his inner characterization is that he is a typical working man and he enjoys common activities just like the Americans, and that he's a Mexican from Lagos. Characterization of Mrs. O'Brien. We get to know from the outside that she is quite wealthy because she lives in Los Angeles. She has 5 children and she's a landlady with a room to offer to rent. So you can say about her in a characterization that she's pretty well off and a fair person and strict but kind, because even though she's very well off, she's still being sweet to Mr. Ramirez. So how does this story relate to the American dream? So I will start by defining the term. So the American dream is a belief where you can hope for a better work and better opportunities and to have freedom. It can be whether religious freedom or just freedom in general. But the American dream, it has 2 outcomes. Either you end up wealthy, just like Mrs. O'Brien, or you end up in a very bad way, just like Mr. Ramirez. But Mr. Ramirez, he did it good in America, but his happiness was limited because of the authority, his visa. So I believe that the message of the story is that the author is trying to criticize the system, because all that the system, the authority gets to know that he has dark eyes and he's Mexican, but they don't know that he's a good person, that he's a hardworking man. And as we also know, he gets drunk only once a week and he doesn't do bad things. He just forgets to his visa, to renew his visa and to spend money on the car that he bought, and he forgot about it. And I also believe that the author is writing about some inequality and racism in the story, because we also get to know that when Mr. Ramirez is saying "I see you never" to Mrs. O'Brien, the policeman just smiled and kind of made fun of him because he could not speak English properly. And Mrs. O'Brien, she just didn't quite understand what he was saying.